Here we go. All right, hey, so I came on here to tell you guys this. So a lot of you are probably wondering now, like, how do I know if I'm in the right place to actually start tapping into my calling? And so what I wanted to go over with you is this. So where you are right now in life, it doesn't matter. Okay, so where you are in life right now is not a surprise to God, okay? So whatever place you currently find yourself in is a place where you are either supposed to overcome, learn, or help in any way that you can. Okay, so you're supposed to reach something, reach for someone, reach for something, uh, or learn something so that you can reach who you're called to reach. Okay, and so ask God to reveal to you or help you understand what it is about this place you're in, these people you're around, this job that you have been sitting in for a while, or however long you have been sitting in it. What is it about this environment that I'm supposed to accomplish or do, or who am I supposed to reach, to further the agenda that God has placed you there for? So serve where you are at, even if it seems small or insignificant or irritates you or challenges you, or even if it doesn't challenge you, if it's boring as heck and you're just like, oh my God, like this is not challenging at all, it sucks, like I'm bored, you know, even if it isn't challenging you, still there's a purpose there for you, okay? So practice being stronger than how you feel and learn how to move in this way. And so the answer to this is serve the purpose of your current assignment or your current position or your current whatever you're doing in life, and you're just like, am I supposed to do this? Am I not? Am I supposed to be here? Am I not? Serve where you are at, and don't worry about not being in the right place. God knows where you are. He can see you. You're not a surprise to him. And if you are somewhere where you're not supposed to be, God will come and get you, and he will show you. He will give you a word. He will give you a revelation. He will give you a thought about where you need to go, where you need to be. He'll take you back to where you were just to show you, like, hey, you missed this step. Like, I have to take you back here. So, or he'll move you forward, like, hey, no, you were insecure about going here, but you actually really do belong there. And so he will take you through it, but you have to be patient. You have to ask him to reveal to you or help you understand what it is that you're supposed to do right now where you are, because you wouldn't be there, if there was nothing for you to learn, if there was nothing for you to do, if there was nobody there for you to reach. And so serve where you are. All right. So look at it this way. You are working for God. All right. Not man. So not the world. And when you work for God, he will send you into certain places because of who you are, who he created you to be. So God sends you specifically to reach others or fulfill a position because you are who he has chosen to be effective in representing him in that environment or in the lives of others. And so now that you know this, it is good to start being more aware that the purpose is more important than the position. Okay, so just because you don't have the leader position does not mean you are not a leader. Okay, so and doesn't mean you will never be in a leader position. And so if God can trust you to move according to what he has asked you to do, then he knows he can trust you to be promoted to something visibly higher than where you are now. Okay, so most of the time we're being tested, our heart's being tested, where we're at, our maturity is being tested. And so I mentioned previously, you are working for God, not man, so not the world. And so what that means is when you work for the world, they don't really care, if you're ever promoted. If you're working for someone, they're about what helps their company. They're about what helps their business, usually. And so they're not really looking or paying too much attention to whether you get promoted or not in life. As long as you're working, as long as you're making money for them, then you could stay there for 15 years if it benefits them. But God doesn't want that for you. Okay, so God's not in the business of putting you somewhere where for no reason. Okay, so when you work for God, there is a purpose for you being in that place. There's a reason you're there. And so God wants to promote you. And so he has to be able to trust that you can handle this before he promote you to another level. Okay, so that's something that you want to take into consider as well. Like it's different from when you're pursuing something for God, or if God is sending you somewhere. There's an assignment that you're supposed to uh, complete or accomplish or finish. But when you're working for the world, when you're working for people, it's more like it whatever furthers their agenda is what you know they are cool with you doing. But that's not how God looks at it. And so God always wants to promote you. So don't worry about if you're in the wrong place. God knows when to promote you and when to move you. Trust God and wait for confirmation on when it is time to move or when you should stay. When God opens a door for you, no man can shut it. Okay, so no man can shut any door that God opens for you. Not a CEO, not the government, not your ex-husband, not your bank, nor your supervisor or anyone else in charge of that place. Okay, so if God tells you, like, hey, this door is for you, whoever's in front of it should move. It's a warning, and I don't mean to threaten people, but if it's for you and God said it's for you, they need to move. But if you apply for a position, for example, and you don't get it, don't go off thinking like, oh man, like I'm so mad, like that was the only position for me and all of that, because that's not true. It just wasn't for you. It doesn't mean that you won't get a similar position, or it doesn't mean you won't get a position that is better than that position. But you have to keep your faith in knowing that if that was for you, no one could have stood in your way. God would have moved them, and that is your door. Okay, so don't worry about if other people are trying to keep you from a certain job or any of that, because if it's for you, they're gonna have to move, and that's just facts. All right, uh so again, you don't want to be placed in any position that God did not set up for you. Okay, because if he didn't set it up for you, that means that it's not for you. You're not there to reach. He hasn't put you there to reach those kinds of people, or that place. That's just not part of his plan for you. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't have another plan set up for you. And so you want to be patient enough to wait for that, because a lot of times we get positions that, we think we're going to love, or we get things that we think we can handle, and then we end up not being able to handle them. And then the thing is, God will always prepare you for a position that he's about to give you. Or if you're not prepared, he will have given you or had you go through something that gives you the maturity to grow into that position. Okay? So don't ever worry about not being in a position that you believe was for you, or that someone else got over you. Because if it wasn't your door, and if you're supposed to be there, God will remove that person and put you there. Okay, so although we all end up in places we don't belong, God will configure a plan to get us out. Okay, but if you learn to listen and obey, it's a much smoother journey for you. Okay, so yeah, you can. A lot of times, what we do is we think God will say one thing, and then you'll end up doing something the opposite, and so you're not within his parameters of what he asks you to do. You're not following his instruction, and so you do what you want to do. But even if you do drift off and do your own thing, God will actually wait for you to be done doing whatever you're trying to do, and have you come back. So have you return to where you are. Okay, and so another thing is, a lot of times we take scriptures out of their context and turn them into something like, well, I thought God would provide for all my needs. And God will provide for your needs, but it's in context of his instructions, so what he's asked you to do. And so don't expect God to supply all your needs if you're doing something that he said don't do, or don't go there, don't move there, and so, because if God provides for you in a place that is not, where you're supposed to be, where he asked you to do, where he called you to go, or what he called you to do, then why would he continue to provide for that place that you're in if it's a false calling for you. That'll just slow you down. That'll slow your process down. That'll cause you to be in a place longer than you were supposed to be in it. And when you can be sitting in another place, that is part of your calling. So it's not that God won't provide for you, but don't expect everything to be working smoothly. You know, don't expect that. So again, it is within relationship with God that He will reveal to you your calling. You don't have to worry about figuring out if you are in the right place, because God will order your steps. You just have to be willing to listen when it's time to take them. A lot of the time, we are too busy trying to skip those steps. Again, seek God and your calling will find you. Do what you can where you are at. Sometimes we are the only church that anyone will ever see, or that an environment will be exposed to. So bring the character of God and serve the purpose of your current assignment. Pray and ask God, if you're not sure that this is where you're supposed to be, and you don't see why you're there, pray and ask God for revelation to reveal to you, an understanding of why you are where you're at, what you're supposed to accomplish here. Pray for knowledge and interpretation about your situation, about the people around you, and God will show you how to access the power He has given you to reach who and what you are called to do, okay? All right. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it. That's what I wanted to go over with you guys, because I know a lot of people are probably like, how do I even start? Like, where do I start? Like, am I too far out for God to even reach me? And the answer is no. God knows where you're at. You're not a surprise to God. And He loves all of us, so He'll wait on you, and He will move you and promote you where you need to be when you need to be there. And you just have to be willing to follow God's instruction and learn to do what God is saying, so that you can be promoted to that next level, okay? All right, so bye guys.